This is ABC15 Mornings.
Right now at 6 on ABC15 Mornings, marking a somber anniversary in the Preston Lord case. It's been exactly 1 year since the East Valley teen was brutally beaten at a Halloween party. This morning, our team is diving deeper into this case and the lasting impact.
I'm Joe St. George at the White House. What does the candidates' travel plans in the final full week of the campaign tell us about the state of the race? We'll break it down next.
Plus, rise up, Red Sea. The Arizona Cardinals winning another close one yesterday. Our team here at ABC 15 has a recap of that South Beach showdown. And certainly it was. But first, it's already been a very busy Monday morning out there on our roadways. In fact, our team staying on top of a crash, and this one is causing some major backups.
All right, let's check in with Megan right now, live in studio with all of us. Megan, glad you're with us this morning because this is quite the backup.
Yeah, I wanted to show you this live picture of what this is doing to our roadways. Take a look at the parking lot that is the Red Mountain Freeway, the 202. They're in that westbound direction. This is a view near McClintock. You notice that exit ramp there at Scottsdale and Rule. Some folks going, okay, yeah, I'm going to get off the freeway now, because I do not want to sit in this backup. Wow, what a scene here. Let's take you to another vantage point here with our ADOT cameras to show you why we're seeing the scenes like this one. Here it is right here, that crash that is blocking those right lanes. This reported near Center Parkway. Now, we've been talking behind the scenes with DPS because there's been a handful of different crashes that have been reported in this area too. So it looks like we have at least 2 crashes reported, plus we had a stalled vehicle as well. So the latest we've heard from DPS on this one here reported near about Priest is that it's a 2-vehicle minor injury crash, but we're still seeing those right lanes restricted here this morning. And that backup is continuing to build, as we saw from those live images, about to the Loop 101. Speed dropping to 5 miles per hour through that area. So that means your drive time from the 101 over to the mini stack where the 51, the 202 and the 10 freeways meet is 29 minutes at average speed, just 20 miles per hour, Nick. So you may want to find an alternate route. I have some options for you. Plus, we got other issues on the roadways. I'll bring you those updates, and desert drive time still ahead.
Okay, we'll follow up with you in just a bit, Megan. Thank you. 6:02, our team also staying on top of a police investigation in Phoenix. Our photojournalists at the scene near 67th Avenue and Highland overnight. The ABC 15 assignment desk reaching out to Phoenix police right now to find out exactly what happened. And now to our big story of the morning. ABC 15 remembering 16-year-old Preston Lord. It was October 28th, 2023. The 16-year-old was attacked at a Halloween party in Queen Creek, and he'd later die from those injuries.
Preston's case, the start of a movement really to shine light on teen violence right here in the Valley and demanding law enforcement do something about it. ABC 15's Jamie Warren, she's live this morning sharing more about Preston's case, where it stands now as the community continues to celebrate his life and his legacy. Jamie.
Good morning, Kaylee and Nick. All 7 suspects in Preston's death are now facing first-degree murder charges as of this morning. So that is how serious this is. And today, though, it is all about Preston. I don't know if you've ever had the chance to come out to Frontier Park in Queen Creek. It just opened over the summer. All of this water right here tonight is going to be lit up with water lanterns. They're going to light up the night sky in honor of the 16-year-old. We have covered this case extensively since the very beginning. A lot has happened in 1 year. So for some history for you, police say the 16-year-old was attacked at a Halloween party on October 28th of last year. Police saying that Preston and his friends were trying to leave when he was punched, he fell, and then multiple others punched and kicked him. 2 days later, he died. In December, Queen Creek police announced that they had submitted charges against 7 suspects. Some of those are teenagers. Now, since then, all 7 have pleaded not guilty. Several of them have bonded out. Now, since Preston's death, arrests have been made in several other violent cases involving teens, both victims and suspects, some of them related to the so-called Gilbert Goons, which I know that you have heard a lot about. Gilbert police have said it is officially designated a criminal street gang now. And then ordinances like in Chandler were created to crack down on the violence. Law enforcement agencies creating a report, don't repost campaign. And here's what Preston's parents said when speaking exclusively with ABC 15 about the movement that has followed since his death.
In my mind, I was just like, this isn't how his story is going to end. It can't end like this. And so we thought, well, what do kids like? Kids wear bracelets. So we decided to create a movement called Justice for Preston Lord.
As for tonight's event, it starts at 6 o'clock. You're asked to wear orange. That was Preston's favorite color. Lanterns will be available. They're suggesting a $10 donation per one. They'll be meeting at the southeast section of the park here near the Ramadas. And as for Preston's family and friends and the entire community, they say that they are going to continue to rally together. They really want to advocate for all teens impacted by not just Preston's death, but some of the other cases that have happened across the valley. For now, reporting live in Queen Creek this morning, Jamie Warren, ABC 15, Arizona.
We talk so much about the importance with this case. I mean, it is absolutely tragic, right? But the importance of talking about it and spreading awareness so that people know and so that parents can talk to their kids.
Yeah, lasting impact for sure. Jamie, thank you for that. 6:05, let's switch gears, take a live look outside as we wait for that sun to finally come up, but painting some awfully pretty pictures in the clouds for us. Let's bring in Jorge Torres right now with a look at that most accurate forecast. And not a bad way to start, at least for us here in the valley.
Yeah, nice and pleasant here in the Phoenix Metro with temperatures generally in the 50s and 60s. Some passing high clouds, dry for the time being, but that'll change potentially later tonight. Meanwhile, the Grand Canyon temperatures above freezing this morning in the mid 30s, but we're monitoring a few showers northwest there in Mojave County. That could be a sign of things to come across the state later on this evening. But your running planner, for those of you hitting the trails this morning, showing temperatures staying in the mid to upper 60s through about 8 o'clock, then climbing into the 70s by 9 and eventually the lower 80s by about mid-morning or so. And by midday, we expect the skies to remain clear, but then the breezes start picking up later this afternoon ahead of that next fall storm that will give us not just that chance of rain and wind, but also cooler temperatures. We'll tell you how cool it will get, not just tomorrow, but also for the rest of the week and also for Halloween, all coming up in your most accurate forecast.
All right, Jorge, thank you. Election Day, it is a week from tomorrow, and ABC 15 is here to remind you if you haven't returned your early ballot yet, the time is now. Maricopa County recommending putting your ballot in the mail by tomorrow, October 29th, to make sure it gets there by Election Day. After that, you can drop it off in person at any polling location on or before November 5th. And according to the Maricopa County Recorder's Office, more than 890,000 ballots have been returned.
Well, the candidates are staying busy crisscrossing the country today, trying to reach undecided voters and encourage their own supporters who haven't voted yet.
Our Joe St. George is taking a closer look at what the candidates' closing message and travel plans tell us about the state of the race.
The fight for voters continues. On Sunday, Harris spent time in Philadelphia, in battleground Pennsylvania, courting the Hispanic and Latino vote. Meanwhile, Trump rallied supporters at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Trump has talked about flipping New York, even though the polls show it being solidly Democrat. The campaigns are adding new events to the schedule nearly every day, but we already have a good idea of the big campaign moments that will happen early this week. Harris will campaign in Michigan Monday, and on Tuesday, Harris will deliver a speech on the National Mall in Washington, near the same location where Trump spoke hours before the riots at the Capitol in January 2021. Charles Franklin is the director of polling at Marquette University. He says it's clear the Harris campaign wants to remind independent voters and moderate Republicans about January 6th.
But that's almost 4 years ago, and the temperature of that issue has declined quite a bit. Looks like the Harris campaign is placing a bet on reminding those cross-pressured voters who otherwise might vote for Trump on the economy to try to remind them of the risk he poses to democracy.
Trump's website, meanwhile, has advised rallies in various swing states all week long. His campaign over the weekend also announced plans to campaign in New Mexico and Virginia this week, too. Non-swing states that currently favor Democrats. Franklin says it's less about where Trump speaks, but whether he can stay on message.
Then in Trump's rallies, we see this more of a shotgun approach with a variety of personal attacks.
On television,
Kamala's agenda is they, them, not you.
Trump has been focusing much of his final paid advertising on commercials attacking transgender issues, including gender-affirming care.
He took away our freedom.
Harris is spending millions on ads related to reproductive rights.
We're seeing the campaigns try to figure out what their best closing arguments are. When we ask what's the most important issue, it's been the economy every poll since January.
Joe St. George, Scripps News, Washington.
Arizona, of course, a top prize in this election. Our team confirming both Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump will hold dueling rallies in our state this week. They'll both be back in the Valley Thursday, which happens to be Halloween. Vice President Harris will be in Phoenix for a When We Vote, We Win rally with Los Tigres del Norte. Former President Donald Trump will be in Glendale for an event with Tucker Carlson. Our ABC 15 political team will be sure to stay on top of both of these and let you know more information as we get them.
It is just about 6:10 now on your Monday, and ABC 15 is following up on the US 93 widening project. Operation Safe Roads team has extensively covered an increase of crashes and deaths on Highway 93 for years now, and our state is taking action to improve safety. ADOT has been awarded a $26 million grant to widen US 93 to a 4-lane divided highway northwest of Wickenburg. The grant will help ADOT expand the current widening project by nearly 1.5 miles. US 93 is that main road connecting Phoenix to Las Vegas, with many segments narrowed to only 2 lanes. Kaylee.
All right. Thank you, Megan. We'll get ready for a brand new shopping experience at the Heard Museum. The grand reopening will happen today inside the museum shop, and it's open daily from 10 a.m. until 4. Our team, by the way, here at ABC 15, checking those ticket prices for you. Admission is $26 for adults. Kids 5 years of age and younger will get in for free.
I'm just happy 15 was there.
A leaking appliance and an ask for help when a Valley man says he couldn't tackle the problem himself. He let ABC 15 know. I'm Christelle Bell with how our team took action to get this problem solved.
Plus at 6:45, listening to your concerns. All new this morning, ABC 15 advocating for you, taking a closer look at the troubling insulin shortage and how you can get help finding this life-saving medication.
It'll be another warm October day here in the Valley, but not as warm as this past weekend with that high of 92. But cooler days are ahead as our next storm approaches. The most accurate forecast minutes away.
And here's a live view outside right now of that traffic alert on the 202, the westbound direction there of the Red Mountain Freeway near Center Parkway. We've had a handful of issues in this area. This crash, another crash, stalled vehicles in this area. We'll check the current desert drive time for you and offer you some alternates to get through here after the break.
ABC 15 Desert Drive Time, sponsored by Accident Law Group.
Welcome back. I'm Megan Thompson, tracking the traffic issues here on the 202. This is the westbound direction of the Red Mountain Freeway. This is a live view right now near about Scottsdale and Rule, where you just see those brake lights lighting up here on this Monday morning. We've had a handful of issues on the Red Mountain Freeway in that westbound direction, beginning with 2 crashes reported in that area right around Center Parkway, right around Priest. And here's what we're currently dealing with. That backup continues to build. Here's a view of the crash we're watching that's blocking the right lanes here, right near that 143 interchange near about Center Parkway. So you notice those right lanes restricted. Folks are moving to the left, but they are really struggling to get through this area in particular. Those speeds have dropped to about 5 to 10 miles per hour. You're going to start hitting the brakes right around the Loop 101 if you're traveling there in that westbound direction. So as you make your way from the 101 to the mini stack, it's a 31-minute drive time. Your average speed is just 20 miles per hour. So if you want an alternate through this area and you're coming from the East Valley, you may want to use the 60 instead to the Broadway curve area and make your way either on the 143 over to the 202 to get you over to the mini stack, or you can continue along the Broadway curve over to the split there to the 10, and then you can make it over to that mini stack interchange. We'll continue to track this issue for you, as well as get you a check of those desert drive times, Nick, still coming up.
Ouch. Okay, I'm looking at that backup, Megan. It is not pretty. Glad you're with us to walk us through it today. All right, let's take a look at some of your morning headlines right now and get you caught up here on a Monday. McDonald's is going to start selling the quarter pounders in all restaurants once again. That news comes after tests showed that beef patties used in the sandwich tested negative for E. coli. An outbreak of E. coli linked to the quarter pounder has sickened at least 75 people across 13 states, and we know one person even died. Egypt's president says that his country has proposed a 2-day ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, during which 4 hostages held in Gaza would be freed. Egypt's president says the proposal also includes the release of some Palestinian prisoners and the delivery of humanitarian aid to Gaza. There has not been a ceasefire since last year's week-long pause in the fighting. The federal government is investigating a hacking scheme linked to the Chinese government. This morning, U.S. officials say hackers targeted phone communications of former President Donald Trump and his running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. Sources familiar with the situation also say that senior administration officials and President Joe Biden's cabinet have also been targeted.
Well, we turned out to a warranty nightmare when one man hits a snag just trying to get his water heater fix. He had a leak. He did let ABC15 know, and that is when Christelle Bell and our volunteer team got to work.
The thing was disgusting. I had cups under all the fittings where it was leaking, and it looked like the bottom of it was leaking also. The pan was all calcium filled, and I mean, it was just a nightmare.
A water heater turned leaking mess for homeowner John. But the appliance was just a year old, so he figured the company he purchased it from could help.
They said, we'll be more than happy to exchange it. You got to take it out, and you got to bring it up.
A shock for John. He learned while the appliance was covered under warranty, the labor was not. He says the company wanted him to disassemble the water heater and bring it to the store for replacement himself.
I don't know how to play with the gas pipes, and I didn't know how to take it off the wall, and I'm 67 years old.
John was frustrated. He says he kept reaching out to the company but hit a brick wall. So he let ABC15 know, and our Better Business Bureau volunteer, Andrew, jumped on the case.
He got everything to click, and I didn't have to do a thing.
Our volunteer, Andrew, contacted the company and the manufacturer, explaining the situation and potential dangers of John removing the appliance himself. And within a few days,
The head in corporate customer service called me.
John now has a new water heater with the removal and install covered. Problem solved.
I'm just happy 15 was there. That's the perfect thing for consumers.
Helping Arizona consumers is what our Let ABC15 Know Better Business Bureau volunteers do each day, and we're so grateful to them. Check out the type of cases our team can take on and read up on the latest consumer news online at abc15.com. I'm Christelle Bell. Got a consumer problem? Let ABC15 know.
It is almost 6:20 on your Monday morning. I'm meteorologist Jorge Torres. It is a fantastic start to the day with clear skies, light winds for the time being, and temperatures quite comfortable. We're in the mid-60s, and we'll stay there till about 8 o'clock or so, then climb to the 70s by mid-morning, eventually reaching the 80s and the 90s for another day. But that is not a record, so that is some good news. But highs will still be above average for this time of year. So here's a look at Desert Doppler. You are noticing finally some rain moving to parts of Mojave County ahead of that cold front that will bring with it cooler temperatures and gusty winds across northern Arizona and in Mojave County too, as wind advisories take effect later this morning at 11 o'clock with gusts anywhere from 45 to 50 miles per hour. So there's that possibility of blowing dust and obviously some of those loose objects and Halloween decorations flying a bit. So keep that in mind if you live in the high country today. Highs in the 60s in Flagstaff, 70s in Winslow and Kingman, with 90s still across the lower deserts. But that'll change as the storm moves in tonight. What that's going to do is allow those temperatures to drop and give us a slight chance of rain here in the valley, about 30%. That's right around, we're going to say, the evening hours into early Tuesday morning. Rainfall amounts fairly light, maybe a tenth of an inch in the valley. That's about it. And across the high country, snow levels starting off very high, around 10,000 feet, then dropping to 6,500 feet early tomorrow morning. And snowfall amounts fairly light, maybe an inch in areas like Flagstaff. But it's going to be gusty across the state. Here in the valley, gusts around 25, and the high country gusts around 45 miles per hour. As that first storm moves in, it moves on out by tomorrow into Wednesday, and then a pleasant start to Thursday, the last day of October, and of course, that's Halloween. So here's your trick-or-treating forecast, at least for the valley. Temperatures will be in the 60s and 70s with that aforementioned high of 82. Just 1 degree below average, below the record of 96 set back in 1988. And then after that, those temperatures will stay on the mild side. But look at the forecast today, 92, 75 for Tuesday and Wednesday with lows in the 50s. Then we're back in the 80s from Thursday through at least the early part of the weekend. And in Flagstaff, we'll keep those highs in the 60s for another day, then dropping into the 40s beginning tomorrow and staying in the 50s the rest of the week.
Hey, Bird Gang, we know some of you were on the edge of your seats for this one. Our Cardinals swooped in for another win against the Dolphins in Miami.
And this was back and forth. It all came down to this. A last second, literally 1 second to go with that field goal, and the final score 28-27. There he goes, right there.
Yeah, the Cards have now won back-to-back for the first time since 2021. Up next for the team, they're back at the Nest this Sunday to face the Chicago Bears. Kickoff is at 2:05. They're good.
Oh,
I like
my goodness. It's fun to watch their chemistry really come alive right now. It's just awesome. Well, NFL Week 8 does continue tonight with Monday Night Football here on ABC 15. A quick programming note for you, ABC World News tonight. It's going to air at 3:30, followed by ABC 15 News at 4. At 5, it's the New York Giants against the Steelers, and we will be back with more local news for you right after the game. Then stick around for ABC 15 News at 10.
An added fee just for APS solar customers. It's new this year, but today a legal battle against it begins. I'm ABC 15's Amelia Fabiano with how you can make your voice heard today on that issue coming up.